Have you ever been depressed? Or do you know somebody who is depressed? Have you encountered an actual case of depression before? Today on the TDJ show, we are going to talk about depression. Welcome back to the TDJ show. Don't forget to follow and to subscribe on all our social media handles. It's the TDJ show 120. We're going to talk about depression. What is depression? Depression is actually an umbrella term for lots of diseases. We have postpartum depression, we have bipolar disorder, which also has a form of depression in it, and we have major depressive disorder and other diseases of depression. It all comes under one term, depression. But today we are going to talk about a major depressive disorder. What do we mean if we say you are depressed? That means that you are feeling depressed, you are feeling low, you don't have pleasure for anything. That is lack of pleasure or lack of interest in things that usually used to give you pleasure or a form of interest. If this happens persistently for minimum 2 weeks, then we say you are depressed. Yes. Depression is very, very common. And according to WHO, 6.4 people get depressed in a year. It's very common. However, it's very treatable. Like any form of diseases, we have ways we treat it, and we have 80 to 90% of people actually get fully treated from depression if they report it. However, most people don't report it because people are scared of stigma, or they don't even know that they have a disease that needs to be treated. So please, let's listen, be aware, so that we can point it out and go to the hospital and get fully treated for depression. So what are the causes of depression? So we have both causes and risk factors. One is genetics. So if you have a family history, an immediate family history of depression, then you are at risk of getting depressed yourself. Sometimes actual diseases can make you get depressed. There are some medical diseases like thyroid, vitamin deficiency, some neurodegenerative diseases that can actually make you depressed. And issues in your brain, we have something in the brain called the neurotransmitter. If you have issues with the serotonin and some others, you can actually have depression. Now, life events can also tip people off to become depressed, like bereavement, losing a loved one, a natural disaster. Like let's say not too long ago we had a flood in the Volta region. If you are a victim and you are unable to handle the war, you can easily get depressed out of it. Now, how do you know if you are depressed or not? So to be depressed, there are some symptoms of depression. One, you actually feel sad or depressed. You are down. You don't have interest in anything. Nothing is fun to you. Nothing entices you. You are either eating too much or too little. You are sleeping too much or too little. You feel worthless. You feel like there's nothing to live for. You feel like there's nothing else happening in your life and nobody really appreciates you. Sometimes you are irritable. The least thing can get you, a bit angry, or you are just there. You don't want to do anything. You feel tired. You feel sick. The started thing, then you are fatigued. All these things are signs of depression. And the feeling, suicidal thoughts. When people are severely depressed, they feel like killing themselves. And most of the time, if there is no intervention, they end up killing themselves. So what do you do if you realize that you have some of these symptoms, or there's somebody close to you who has these symptoms? Please report to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, the doctor will take a history, will talk to you, and also examine you. Sometimes some tests will be done based on the history and examination to rule out the other diseases that I spoke for, and then you'll be taken to a psychiatrist, where an interview, a thorough interview in the form of questionnaires and others will be done, and then a diagnosis of major depressive disorder can be made. When such a diagnosis is made, you are ranked either mild to moderate, or severe. But we have different forms of treatment. We have the pharmacotherapy that has to do with medication, drugs. We have lots of different kinds of antidepressants that can be used to treat depression. And we have psychotherapy, where the psychologist comes to talk to the person who is depressed. This works well for mild to moderate type of depression. So we have different kinds of it. We have the behavioral, we have cognitive therapy, we have the cognitive behavioral therapy, we have the problem solving. There are different kinds of approach where it is some form of therapy where the psychologist, talks to you, goes through some form of therapy with you to bring you out of that phase of depression. Then we have the electroconvulsive therapy. With electroconvulsive therapy, we have electrodes attached to your brain under anesthesia, so you will not be awake, you'll be sleeping comfortably, there will be no pain. And then this electrode will stimulate the nerves in your brain in order to heal you from the depression. We do these things to major depressive cases, people with suicidal intent, people who have benefited from it before, or sometimes some people request for it. You have some series of cycles, some number of times you have to go through it, and then you can get cured of your depression. And we have the stimulation therapy where particular nerves are stimulated to bring healing. So there is a way out for depression. Please don't keep to yourself. Please don't hide in your room. Talk to somebody, or if you see it in someone, please extend help. Let them see their doctor and get the needed help. Depression can be treated, and 90% get fully treated from depression if they access healthcare. Thank you very much, and don't forget to follow us on the TDJ Show 120. Thank you.